All right, so I have just a few comments to make about the about those integral proteins. So that I think this is slightly out in the wrong spot, but anyway. So when we were talking about those integral proteins, the channels, and you can, and this is really about transporters, but you can apply this to channels as well. On this slide, it says specificity. What that means, and I mentioned this before, I said they're very specific. We had said we have aquaporins, we have calcium, we have, we have potassium leakage channels, we have sodium leakage channels, all of these things, they're very specific, and stuff can only flow through at a certain rate. So you can overload them to where there's like a backup. And that's where we talk about saturation. And there's only a certain number that can pass through there. That's a transport maximum. And now, when we get to the urinary system, we'll talk about how in the urinary system, we filter everything out of the blood. All of the sugars, all of the different ions, and that's like when you're making urine. But you don't want to pee all that away, right? So what you do in this urinary system structure called a nephron, in some of the tubules, you recover back the good stuff. So all that sugar that you filtered out, you recover it back, unless you're a diabetic. Why is that? It's because you have so much sugar. High blood sugar is what diabetes is, right? You have so much sugar that you filtered out, glucose, that the glucose active transport molecules, they're like grabbing, pulling it back in, but it can't. You've exceeded you've saturated and you've exceeded the transport maximum. And so as a result of that, a person who doesn't have diabetes, they don't have glucose in their urine. If you have diabetes, you do, because you have exceeded the transport maximum for recovery of that. So that's a good example of that. So there is a maximum number of molecules that can pass through these. There's a certain number of these transporter or channel proteins, and they're all highly specific. What else do we want? Oh, the cytoplasm. So, whoops, my stupid. Well, hopefully you can see me. In my office, if you're wondering what I am doing, my office has a timer on the light, and if I don't move around enough, if I don't walk around, it decides I'm not here and it shuts the light off, and maybe it was hard for you to see. Okay, but where was I? Cytoplasm. So we were saying, what is in that cytoplasm? So we said, you got the big, a ball, and we've been talking about this outer limit, the cell membrane, and now we're getting to the stuff on the inside. And we had said, on the inside, what do you have? You have this gel-like matrix. We have organelles. Okay, so in eukaryotic cells, which are the more advanced kind of cells like you and I are made of, we have organelles, and then we have sort of things that are temporarily present in certain cells, which are called inclusions. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about these different organelles, and we're also, before we get to that though, we need to talk about something called the cytoskeleton. And so I'm going to go on, and you sat through a 10-minute video, the last one. This one's only 4 minutes, so this one's a bonus. But then we got more, so.